Hi guys, Mark Francois or Penny Mordaunt should be the next Defence Secretary because they did some part-time soldiering back in the day. That seems to be the thinking of military veteran Trevor Coult MC. Now he was invited onto GB News to discuss Grant Shapps' new position following the resignation of Ben Wallace. Trevor believes that Britain should reinstate the War Office and have ex-military people in charge. I think there's a major problem with that, which I'll explain in just a moment. Have a listen to what Trevor had to say first.
And it's not looking good when people are coming from university, getting roles and then controlling important roles. I honestly believe that the Ministry of Defence should go back to the War Office, where we have retired generals, brigadiers, colonels making those decisions, and we stop these civilians getting these roles, which they clearly are unfit to do.
You mentioned Johnny Mercer. Is there anyone else, currently in the cabinet you would have liked to have seen take the role rather than Grant Shapps?
Mark Francois would be a good one. We did have Penny Mordaunt in there at one stage, and I will be honest, she did a decent job. But again, she got moved on. Today in Parliament, in government, we have great candidates for great roles. But then again, someone will say, well, Penny once brushed past me in the corridor and I felt offended. So we are now moving out people that are fantastic for the roles because of allegations. Johnny would have done a great job. Mark Francois, Penny Mordaunt, we've got Clive Lewis. We've got several MPs in there which I think could have been up to the job.
Okay, well, Clive Lewis is a member of the Labour Party, so I don't know why Rishi Sunak would appoint him. But anyway, Mark Francois and Penny Mordaunt. And these people are being moved out because of allegations, and that should be ignored? Is that what he's saying? Anyway, but Penny Mordaunt and Mark Francois, this is the best you can come up with. I would regard this as scraping the bottom of the barrel. But as I said at the beginning, there's a reason why we generally don't put military people in charge of departments like this. Because it's a political position, not a military position. Now, why is that a problem? Because soldiers are designed to do one thing, to follow orders. You don't want that in a politician, because if you have the head of the Defence Department just doing as the Prime Minister says, this is going to be a problem. You want somebody who's a little bit independent. Now, of course, you want independence in the military when it comes to breaking international law. You don't want generals or officers or whatever just following orders. You want them to resist a little bit, of course. But generally, they like the idea of having something told to them. Tell me what you want me to do. Destroy that target. Achieve that objective. That's what they want. Something simple. I'm not saying that they are simple. I'm just saying that this is what they're designed to do. They're designed to follow orders. You're supposed to do X. Okay, I go and do X. That's it. But politics is not like that. Politics is about backroom deals and manipulating different groups or putting different factions against each other. Military people don't want to do that. And this idea, let's go back to the War Office. Yes, but there isn't a war on. I think that's the simplest response to that. This is a political position. It's not a military position. During a time of war, it's probably a good idea to have the senior people in this department being from the military, because you need to understand, okay, how do we fight this war? But generally what the Defence Secretary is dealing with is, okay, budgets and recruitment and projects and stuff like this. Nothing really to do with war. Yes, some of it is related to the war in Ukraine, but I think that's a very small part of the entire portfolio. And I touched on this before. If we look at NATO, the last number of leaders, heads of NATO over the last number of decades have been civilians, because it's a political role, not a military role. If they need advice, they'll be surrounded by military experts and by senior generals. They will say, this is what you should do. This is the technology we need to invest in. These are the strategies we need to look at and we need to work out. They will provide advice, but the decisions at the end of the day will be taken by a politician because it's a political role. Just like Ben Wallace's role was political and Grant Shapps is political. But maybe I'm missing something. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.